Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. I invite you to come closer. This invitation to come closer is the perceptual crux or focus. These meditations are about an integration of all that you think you are, to become closer with those things you don't even think exist, to open a door that you didn't even know was a door. Multidimensional things are like that, and we say this so often. We are inviting you to do something that is not commonly asked of you to do. In faith, without intellectual pursuit, to start to feel things that are true and accurate instead of having to prove them in a three-dimensional way. That's what we're asking. Today's channeling was about chemistry. It was about a chemistry that seems to be completely and totally apart from who you are. Your consciousness ponders great things. Your consciousness ponders the world, your survival, your systems, the rights and the wrongs, the dark and the light. Your consciousness ponders wonderful things. It doesn't spend a lot of time pondering your liver. It doesn't have to, because you see, those things are taken care of, aren't they? And the chemistry just does what it does. And if you were paying attention to the channeling that came earlier, you're realizing that perhaps you ought to think about a perceptual change where you start pondering the chemistry of your body. Here's where it gets good. Research has shown that these very molecules of the chemicals that make up your body surprisingly have a multidimensional aspect. Indeed, they have been shown through some experiments of the quantum biologists that they're more than 4D and 3D, that there really truly is an aspect of multidimensionality. And that means that your consciousness, which is also multidimensional, can shake hands with your chemistry in a way you didn't think was possible. We have told you to talk to yourselves, now you know why. It's more than talking, dear ones. It's consciousness, loving yourselves enough to say, I love you. I'm going to say it today and tomorrow. Congratulations for being with me. Now, let's move life together. Count every other day in your body clock so we're going to last longer. Dear cells, we're going to be out of stress. I'm going to do everything I can to support that which is my liver, which is anything else, which is my foot, which is my knee. All those things which belong to you are made up of pieces and parts of the chemistry. All of them have a multidimensional aspect. Welcome to the Circle of 12, a place where we ponder things which are multidimensional. A time when we're going to, in a moment, cross a bridge, figuratively, into a multidimensional land, figuratively, where you will start to choose to awaken or not to another kind of a concept. Is it possible for you to touch your soul? Are you allowed to touch your soul? This is not on, I would say, any kind of doctrine of any belief system in the planet. The doctrine is more of history and rules, is it not? It tells you the shoulds, the do's and the don'ts, and they don't talk much about touching your soul. But that is what this is about, and it's not a doctrine. It's an experience. It's a belief. Yes or no? Is it possible that this particular energy that's been developed since 2012 is different? Is it possible that humans are now able to and invited to cross a dimensional bridge that will put you then in touch with that which has seemingly in the past been untouchable? The essence of your very soul. You're taught from many who are spiritual leaders, perhaps, that is not what you're supposed to do. In fact, that's too little too sacred. They'll say, well, your soul is given by God and your human body is where you're living. And then when you stop living and you take your last breath, you'll be with your soul again. Almost like it's completely and total apart from you. Now we're telling you it never has been. You walk around with your soul. That Merkaba, that huge energy which is yours, has always been yours. It just hasn't necessarily been something you think much about, because you've always been told it's separate. It doesn't talk to you much, does it? Unless you talk to it first. Another premise of Kryon. Your soul, all those things, all that multidimensionality, all the profound love of Spirit sits there loving you. And you have free choice to see it or not. But when you do, and when you start to touch that door and knock on it and take that hand, things start to change. Because Spirit goes, she's looking, he's looking. Let's go. Waiting for you to decide whether it's real or it's not real. That's what's going on. When you start talking to the chemistry of your body, it's the same. You're going to get a reaction. This is not an esoteric promise. This is chemistry. Dear ones, those who have done this and have been successful at it are evangelical in this because they know it works. And if they could face off with you, they'd say, it works, and we didn't believe it until we did it. And when we started communicating with our body on a regular basis, things started changing. We could feel it. And then they'll tell you something else. That their perception changed when they got results. And now they know something that they didn't know before. They got an awareness of what they could do, that there was more out there. And the premise, again, of Kryon, you can't unknow anything. There's no delete key in your brain that will erase an experience you have. And if you've had an experience that leads you to this multidimensional point, you can't undo it. Oh, you can deny it. Then you're in denial. But you can't unlearn it. And so that's why when you have it and you realize it and it starts to happen and there's an experience, you relax into it and go, I know what I know. This has worked for me. There is so much more I didn't know. And you'll say, thank you, Spirit, for turning on the light. That I might see these things in a different way. There's a bridge before you that I invite you to cross with me. It's always there. When you get to the other side of that bridge, I know what's possible. I know there are experiences that will reverse disease there because it can't remain there in your body when you have an awareness of the light and there is no light now. I know things that have happened in the past when human beings have had this kind of an awareness when they didn't before. I have seen, and you have seen, and you have heard of the spontaneous remissions and all of those things. This is on the other side of the bridge, and eventually there will be no bridge, dear ones. Did I tell you that before? The bridge separates the known from the unknown. What you are, what you think you are, all the things you believe, crossing a bridge into that which you don't even know exists and violates, perhaps, some of the realities you've been told are possible or not possible. You don't cross the bridge with a clipboard. You don't cross the bridge checking off things that you know or don't know and coming back and verifying them later. That's not what we're doing. That's all 3D. When you cross the bridge, you're wide open. You've got to be okay with things you don't understand. If you're going to be intellectual and say, I have to see it and know it and understand it before I go there, it isn't going to work. We told you this before. I want you to cross the bridge with me. Come to the middle of the bridge and you'll see again the mist that's always there. The mist is there. It's a fog that hides what's on the other side. So you can't use your intellect to peek there and come back and go, I'm not going to go today. Or, oh yeah, I'll go today because it's okay or it's not okay or the sun is shining or it's not shining. You're going to go into that fog prepared for the unknown, knowing it's a safe place because it's you're going to see. A piece of you that's more magnificent than you thought that you're going to see. An experience which enhances you. And so many are afraid. Only because it's so different. Come with me right now and walk through the mist. Right now. Take my hand. On the other side of this bridge, there's anything you want. Multidimensionality is that way. Don't be shocked or surprised if you don't understand everything I'm going to tell you. I speak in metaphors. I always will. Almost all spirituality is given to you in metaphors, in quatrains, and verses that mean something else. This means something else. We're going to go into a hall where there's a theater. You're going to pass through a door, which some of you think is a portal. It really is the entrance to the unknown. It's your giving permission not to understand what's coming, but to know it's real. Can you do that? Don't understand it, but I know it's there. Can you do that? Most of you do that daily with technology. You use things you don't understand, but you know it works. This works. Come with me to that theater in the round, that sunken theater in the round where you are going to climb up the stage after you've gone down the stairs in this sunken theater. The audience, you don't know who's going to be there. And it changes from day to day, from time to time, from meditation to meditation, just for emphasis. If you can't visualize it, then simply sit and feel it. Spirit wants you to get this. So if you can't visualize it, that doesn't mean you can't get it. Spirit says, well then don't do anything but sit and be loved. You can do that, can't you? Can you sit and simply feel? For those of you who can visualize, come down the stairs with me, climb the stairs, and get in the chair. We sit in this chair and we ask you to visualize sitting in the chair. There are some who say, well, I can't really visualize anything. Really? Can you visualize sitting down? Is that too much? And you say, well, no, that's fine. I can visualize sitting down. Stop. Sit down. Can you visualize someone saying beautiful things to you and congratulating you or even washing your feet? Is that too hard? That's very 3D. You say, no, I can go there. Then stop and just do that. Just do that. Let us simply love you. For the rest of you who can visualize anything I'm telling you, I want you to see the audience coming in. I'll tell you who they are. Every single member of this audience is a human being who has changed their lives because they have talked to themselves. They've had disease in remission. They have had peace where there was none. They have erased their life from the fears and the anxieties they've had. They've dropped unforgiveness. Every single one of these is a champion of energy in that way. They've done it. They learned how, and they do it daily. Every one of them. And dear ones, there's tens of thousands of those. And they're going to sit in the audience and look at you. Because that's what you're here to do, and that's what you're here to learn. They're sitting in the audience. And now it's time for you to talk to yourselves. What are you going to say? Once you start like this, dear cellular structure, dear chemistry, I'm here finally to take the wheel of the ship. I'm here and I understand that this is now possible. Please join me. Thank you, cellular structure, for the love that we have for one another. This is the beginning of our relationship for the rest of my life. And if you think, well, this is really hard, Kryon, I can't talk to a molecule, I'll tell you that that audience is now going to support you, and they're going to start yelling suggestions. They're going to start writing things on pieces of paper, throwing them off on the stage because they know it's possible, and they are in love with you because you are endeavoring to do what they have done. Every one of them has done this, and they're there to help you. Some of them may even come up on stage and start talking to you. Why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you hold our hands? I got a process. I got something else. They'll say, I had trouble for a while, but now I'm fine. That's who the audience is. You got support. You think it's crazy, you think it's impossible, you've got support. There's validity, there's others who have done it, they're here to help you. This is the beginning of something beautiful. Sit, just sit, and experience them showing you how to discover your own magnificence and extend your life, chase away all the things that don't belong in your magnificence. Stay. Stay. And so it is.